Reform UK thing is really exploding, and today Farage appeared on Loose Women, and I'm going to play you two clips from Loose Women, which are an attempt by Farage to put this whole thing behind him. But I'm afraid it's a rhetorical flourish and a wriggle rather than leadership. And I think it's so interesting that the person who is interviewing him here points out when his excuse is one person is an actor and the other person is drunk. But in vino veritas, when it's being drunk is not an excuse for bad behaviour. If there is bad behaviour, that presumably is the true character coming out. You don't want that person anywhere near you. And this is somebody who has been involved in reform for a long time. So a homophobic thug that Farage is excusing. But he might just as well have said, "Oh, it was a joke." But clearly it wasn't. Anyway, let's have a listen to the Loose Women stuff and see what Farage has got to say.
This was undercover footage, which was recorded by Channel 4 News. And we heard a canvasser for Reform UK making extremely racist comments about the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, describing him as a P word. And can I just say that some of this is offensive, so I apologise in advance. He also said about illegal immigrants, their target practice, just shoot them.
You did.
And another individual, who's a long-serving reform campaigner, made homophobic comments describing a pride flag on a police car as a degenerate flag. Now, I see that you have tweeted this morning saying that one of these people was an actor.
Yeah.
What are you suggesting?
So, I saw all the footage last night. I thought no one speaks like that. It was just stream after stream of invective. No one speaks like that. You know, we're going to turn mosques into Wetherspoons. And it all seemed a bit over the top. So someone told us he was an actor. We rang him this morning. The Daily Telegraph rang him this morning. He denied point blank that he was an actor. It turns out he is an actor. I found his website. He's a well-spoken actor who does something called rough speaking. Well, I was in the office when he arrived last Saturday, and he was doing rough speaking. It was an act right from the very start.
So you met him?
I was working, and he came in and came up to me and said hello, and then he went out canvassing where the undercover filming took place. And he was rough speaking. He wasn't being himself from day one. I have to tell you, this whole thing is a complete and total setup. Of that, I have no doubt whatsoever.
Okay.
So that's rough. That's Nigel Farage explaining about Andrew Parker on Loose Women this morning, and then he so that's his explanation about the about the slur on to the Prime Minister. But then he went on and he had another explanation.
That was one exchange, but there was also, at the end of their piece, there were three people who were speaking.
There was
one of them is a senior Reform UK
yeah.
campaigner who's well established within the party, and he was actually the ones who made the homophobic comments.
Yeah, they watched England play football, they were in the pub, they were drunk, it was crass,
But I get
it was
drunk.
vulgar.
I don't,
No,
I'm not homophobic when I'm drunk.
Well, people when they're drunk often turn quite nasty. Look, it was unforgivably nasty. No question about that. But the one that's really hurting us is the one with racial slurs, and I promise you, this guy is a setup. I have no doubt about it. And remember, the stakes are very high. The stakes are very high here.
Set up by whom?
Well, I don't know who. I don't know whether he was paid or not, but there's something wrong.
Who would pay him?
There's something. Well, there was a production company working with Channel 4 News, looking for a big story. Something.
Are you suggesting that Channel 4 News paid this individual?
No, I'm saying it's possible. I don't know.
Are you?
Something is wrong here. Something is wrong.
Okay.
Here.
So because you don't like something, you suggest that somebody has behaved dishonourably to get the information. It is quite bizarre logic here. What we do know from this exchange with Farage, very, very smooth denial, by the way, from Farage. A very, very, very smooth attempt to distance himself from this story. But what is quite clear is that Farage is apportioning blame, and that when it comes to his canvassers and the people who represent his party, he does no background check. He doesn't seem to care. He doesn't make a note about whether these people are members of his party or not. As long as they can wear a rosette and knock on a door, he is happy. Now maybe he's going to learn his lesson, because I understood in the past that when you were campaigning, when you were canvassing, you generally had to demonstrate that you were a card-carrying member of the relevant party. And clearly that's not something that Farage demands. And more than that, they get access to him, that he met these people. It is quite remarkable that admission of the closeness. So, by that standard, so anybody could have infiltrated any party? No, I don't think so, because most parties operate a principle and a standard of selection when it comes to the people who are canvassing and knocking on doors. These people are invading our living space. These people, we trust that when somebody knocks on the door, they represent the party that they claim to represent. So I would have thought that there's if this fellow has been put up to this, then there's an issue about misrepresentation there, and there would be questions to answer. The fact that Farage suggests that Channel 4 News is responsible for this, that's very serious. Or the people who Channel 4 News, the company that Channel 4 News got the programme from, it's very serious indeed. And Farage should be very careful with the blame that he's throwing around, because in the end, the blame will stick to him. And I think at the moment there's a lot of octopusing, sort of tentacle flapping, and we probably have to wait until the dust or the waters settle before we can see what's really going on. But if Farage was damaged by his comments about the EU and NATO and Putin, which he was, the polls suggest that he's certainly lost 1 percentage point, and that's been gained by the Conservatives, then I cannot imagine he will not be damaged by this.